Walk your trap and take over your trap.
Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Come on,
Walk your trap and take over your trap.
Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Come on,
Walk your trap and take over your trap.
Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Come on,
Walk your trap and take over your trap.
Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Come on,
Walk your trap and take over your trap.
Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Walk your trap, take over your trap. Come on,
All right. Good evening, everybody. Not sure how this is going to work out, but I'm here. Wanted to be the first person to start a Vanderbilt podcast other than the Door Report, and of course the guys over at Vandy Rivals. Those guys do a great job. I'm just here. I'm just a fan. Wanted to give you a little introduction to who I am and get this thing going. So. Who I am, I moved to Tennessee in 1990, became a Vanderbilt fan instantly. Why I did that, I have no idea. I guess I just like cheering for an underdog. I grew up a New Orleans Saints fan, if that tells you anything. I'm an official member of the Sidewalk Alumni. And for those that don't know what that is, that's a person that becomes a Vanderbilt fan with no connection whatsoever to the university. It's official. I actually have the documentation for that. You see, September 12th, 1992, got the certificate. Been there, done that. I'm sure many of you can relate. So, been a fan for 34 years. We made a bowl game in 2008. I literally cried because it meant something to me as a fan. So that's where we're at. Here we are today. We got our 6th win. We're going to discuss that later. But this is only going to go as good as the interaction is in the chat. So if you're watching, go ahead and start chatting with me. Let me know what you want to talk about. There's a lot of interesting things revolving around Vandy sports. But while I'm waiting for some people to jump in here, I'm going to go ahead and play a quick ad from the person and the entity that allows me to do this, and that's the Villains Media Network. Without them, I wouldn't be here tonight. So wanted to give a shout out to Andrew and his wife for giving me a platform to do this. So take a look at who's all on this platform. Make sure you check them out. So yeah, that's Villains Media Network, the newest entity in college sports, and we're going to take over the college landscape. So bear with us as we build this entity. A lot of great shows on there. You'll catch me on that. I'm also on the Golden Boot podcast. I'm one of the original founders of that, along with my co-host over there, George and Cody. And, we just have a good time talking about sports. Several people in that are watching now actually watch us over on the Golden Boot. So it is what it is. I appreciate y'all joining in. And I'm going to send some invites out now. If you want to jump in here and talk to me, I'm ready for you. So big win today. Let's get that out of the way. Went into Auburn, got that 6th win. We're now bowl eligible. And a lot of people didn't think we could do it. So I never doubted. I started saying in July that we were going to win 6 games. Believed it in the heart. Still believe that we're not finished with what we can do here. I don't know. What do y'all think of the game today? Did you like the pace of play? Did you like how everything turned out? Obviously, you're happy with the win. So I don't know. Not a lot of people chatting in here. I wanted to share some videos that I found on the interwebs today with the game. If you're watching over on Twitter, one of our biggest fans is Hack Squat. Everybody knows him, Trev. Great guy. What he does for Vanderbilt and the fan base is beyond measure. I just wanted to show you. He went down to Auburn today. They had a good time. And this is what it looked like after the game for the Dole Report and their buddies.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm watching that trap take over your trap.
I thought that was kind of fun. Vanderbilt gets made fun of all the time about their fan base. It is what it is. You know, there's so many other things in Nashville to spend your money on, and I get it. But as long as there's a good product on the field, the fans are going to show up. And that we have fans going to places like Auburn and other places, it tells a tale that there is support out there for us. So, a lot of celebrating today down in Auburn. One of the coolest. I always love to see Clark Lee jumping around and having a good time in the locker room. So he absolutely did that today.
That's right. Hey, yeah. You know I got that swag. I got that swag.
Always fun to see him having a good time. We all know that Diego Pavia is the star of this team, but he didn't get here by accident. As you remember, over the years, we've had several auditions at the quarterback position, and I thought while I'm here early tonight, I'd give you an idea of what we've been through on that.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely when you're never coming round. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired. Listen to the sound of my tears. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around, bite eyes. Every now and then I fall apart, and I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever. And if you want.
So yeah, we've had a few tryouts, but want to bring in a buddy of mine. Good friend of mine, Cody Slavinsky, helps one of the co-founders of the Golden Boot podcast that I'm on over there, and going to bring him in here. We've been together for about 14 years, so y'all give Cody a welcome.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Oh, not
Feels
much,
good,
man.
bro. Feels
Man,
good.
that was a good win today. It really was.
I struggled. We didn't play good.
You know, yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes you need the defense to bail you out. And I feel like they really did their part today.
Yeah, the defense played really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Auburn is a hostile environment. I don't care how bad their team is. They're always a hard place to play. And, I mean, Pavia probably had the worst game of his Vanderbilt career today. But guess what? It didn't matter because they got the points when they needed them.
Nice. I mean, you know, that's nice that they got answered the bell when they needed to.
Yes.
So what did you think of that fourth quarter drive?
I thought that it showed that Vanderbilt is not the Vanderbilt of old. I really thought that, for me, it showed that, hey, this team, I think they can score at will. I really do. And I think that they realized, hey, we've sucked so far, and Pavia basically said, hey, we're going to score. We're going to make it happen. And bam.
Yeah. How many times have you seen in the past a Vanderbilt team get into the fourth quarter and just lay down? That team didn't lay down today.
No. That team has no quit in them. I mean, even in their losses that they've had this year, there was still no quit in that team. I mean, Georgia State obviously should have won that game. They didn't quit. Georgia State made a really good play at the end to seal it. Missouri, same situation. Texas, really, they definitely never quit that game. I mean, realistically, if they could replay those three games, I guarantee you they would go 2-1 in those easily. At least, if not 3-0. I mean, you just never know. But no, I was very proud of what Vanderbilt showed today. It's definitely a different. It's weird saying it's not. Well, it's not weird saying that Vanderbilt's bowl eligible. It's weird saying that they own the state of Alabama. That to me just blows my mind.
Oh, no doubt. So I actually have an image of that. Did you know that they've moved the state capital and renamed it?
They should.
Check out where the new state capital is. They've renamed it from Montgomery to Vanderbilt.
So let's see. So who's Vandy got next?
South Carolina at home.
That's gonna be a fun matchup. South Carolina's looking really good tonight. They really are, but obviously night game in South Carolina versus being on the road, two different teams.
And this is and as we've said, this Vanderbilt team is different.
Absolutely. I think it's actually gonna be a high scoring game. I wouldn't be surprised if both teams had 30 points in this game easily.
That'd be wild. Because South Carolina this year is known for defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing we've struggled with is teams with good defense, kind of give our offense fits.
Yes.
But one thing I did notice today, though, is we didn't use a lot of the misdirection stuff that we've used all year long.
Yeah, and I think that was a credit to Auburn's defense, though.
We ran more right at them instead of going misdirection style. I don't think that was the answer against a team with a good D line. And make no mistake, Auburn's got a good D line.
They do.
So it's going to be interesting what we decide to do next week, if we're going to do the same thing or if we're going to go back to the misdirection.
Honestly, I think against South Carolina, they need to air it out. They really do. And I think that I think Alexander needs to get healthy because you could tell that he's banged up right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to rest this week as much as possible because he was clearly not himself tonight, which, I mean, I know he was listed as questionable going into today anyway, but he just, I mean, and I'm not knocking him at all, but you could just tell that he was just not himself.
Right. And then Thomas Jones, another one of the New Mexico State transfers, he got injured, had to be helped off the field today.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the game, we had Chase Gillespie in there playing featured back.
Yeah.
Which is weird because you have another featured back in AJ Newberry. But he's not one of your power runners. He's more of a speed outside type guy that a lot of times lines up as a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting to see that they brought him in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's good though that you can bring, more people in and, show your depth that you actually have. I could tell that, and even while the defense played good, you could see that some defenders are also pretty beat up as well. Fontenette, I can tell he looked a little bit slower than normal today. And I know he was
some big plays though.
He did, but he just did not look. You could just tell that I can tell the injury bug is really setting in right now. And I'm really hoping that it's not, I mean, obviously it must be nothing serious because they played today. So I'm thinking that, give them a couple days, they'll probably be good to go. But I thought CJ Taylor had a really good game today. I liked seeing him all over the place out there. That was very nice to see. But yeah, I did not expect the game to look like it did today. I thought Vanderbilt would win. I just did not think it'd be like a 7-7 game for the longest, and then they finally pull away. It was just strange.
So one thing about it, I think Hugh Freeze did exactly what we thought Hugh Freeze would do.
Yes.
He got behind 7-0. Still a ball game at that point, and he panicked and abandoned the run and tried to throw it all over the field.
Yes.
It's what he does. So I thought it was interesting that he did exactly what we expected him to do. We talked about it this week on the Golden Boot. What do you do if you're Auburn from here? Not to take the focus off of Vandy, but do you keep him?
I say yes, only because he has a solid recruiting class he's built up coming in. And I mean, you can't expect a guy to have his players instantly. And I think that, he's got a good quarterback coming in. He'll be a freshman, so obviously he probably won't be ready to take over the reins, but he's a top 50 overall prospect. Um, got some good defenders coming in, obviously, so they'll just restack the already solid defense they have. I think this is a year where you say, hey, we understand where the program is going. And I think the recruiting class is what will save him his job. And then I think next year a bowl game would be what's expected out of them, at least. But then after that, it's you better be finishing top 15 or you're out kind of a situation. But it does make me wonder what would have happened if they would have just rode with Brian Harsin and just went with it. Because I haven't seen any change since Harsin left.
No, it's exactly the same. But do you think obviously, I know what the answer is going to be. Do you think Vanderbilt made the right call last year in sticking with Clark Lee and giving him another year to do something?
Absolutely. I think that Clark Lee beyond redeemed himself. I don't think he looked like a bad coach last year. I think that it was just I don't want to say it like this, but a Vanderbilt syndrome that he had around him, and he was stuck. And I think once they said, hey, here's some money, let's actually do something with this program, he went out and made a bold hire and then pulled in some bold recruits, and it's clearly paid off. But the biggest question is, where does he go from here? Because Pavia doesn't last for. I mean, Pavia, he has no more eligibility after this year, right?
Yep, this is it after him.
Okay, so there you go. So you have to replace Pavia. That's not easy to do. CJ Taylor is going after this year. I mean, there's a lot of players leaving this team that are key pieces. But can he hit the portal hard again and find those diamonds in the rough? Is Jerry Kill the whisperer to do that? Probably. But I think if I'm a player at another school or if I'm a recruit and I see what I see on the field this year, as well as when the social media team releases these locker room videos, I would consider going to Nashville. Which, I mean, Nashville's already a cool city as it is. Who wouldn't want to be in Nashville? It's a fun place. But just from the vibe that I see, this isn't Vanderbilt anymore. This is a serious contender, and it's super cool to see. And I absolutely hate that they're only 6-3 and not 8-1, 9-0 right now, because they have the talent to do that.
Right. So you mentioned the locker room videos. There are some good ones. Another good one I haven't shared yet today. Check it out. This is Jack Lee, the son of Clark Lee.
Okay.
I think this is Jack. This might not be the right one.
Hell yeah! All of that dumbass shit.
Yeah, that wasn't a Jack Lee one. That was our freshman corner, the 4-star that came out of Houston, and everybody laughed at him when he committed to Vanderbilt. That's Dante Carter.
Yeah, Dante Carter is one that I would like to interview. He's a stud.
He's putting some stuff out on their way home. He's been putting some stuff out on Twitter too. So
that's good. That's very good. I just like that
y'all
vibe.
Thought this was a joke? Nope. I'm here.
The biggest recruiting win, I think, though, that the Clark Lee staff had, though, is getting Mo Hampton. That was a kid that originally should have probably been at Vanderbilt instead of going to LSU, then going to Samford and deciding not play football anymore and play baseball, then deciding, hey, I'm going to play football again and go to Vanderbilt. And I had no idea he was even on Vandy's roster until like 3 weeks ago. And that kid's making plays.
Yes.
And I mean, to put it out there, this is what's crazy. He was on the 2019 LSU National Championship team. That's how long he's been in college. This kid out of high school, had he not said, "Hey, I want to go to college," he could have been a top 3 round draft pick in the major league draft.
Yeah.
Probably a decision he regrets now, because being in college this long, like, that's not really that fun. But I feel like he messed his baseball career up when he decided to be a dual sport athlete at LSU, because he focused heavily on the football team, came in at baseball, and it was clear as day that Coach O and Paul Maneri did not have a good working relationship, because he looked
Mhm.
sloppy on the baseball field. So then he transfers to Samford, and he did fine, but nothing special. But now that he's at Vanderbilt, though, he's a totally different animal, and I love seeing it. I like seeing him do well. He's in his home state. He's doing it right. And you didn't remember it, but you even said he will be a Commodore. And this was like after he committed to LSU, and I was like, nah, nah. And here he is now. He's integral
Right.
part at Vanderbilt, and I love seeing it.
So we're going to go back a couple of years. There was a safety that came in from Alabama, came in as a true freshman, to Ricky Wright,
Mm-hmm.
and what he's been through in his time at Vanderbilt. He lost his family in the fire right around Christmas his freshman year. He's had custody of his younger siblings. Uh, got kicked off the team for a while, came back, made some plays, got hurt, transferred out, transferred back. What do you think this means for a guy like him?
I think it's everything. I mean, the way he started the season out last year, I mean, he had arguably the best start of all the defensive backs in the country last year. Didn't he have, like, what, 3 interceptions throughout the first couple weeks of the season? Like, he couldn't be
Yep.
stopped.
Yeah.
And I think just being part of this year, I mean, obviously, when you go to college, you want to win. You want to be part of a championship environment. You want to have it all. Everything that he's gone through for his, his swan song to be to a season like this, it's pretty special. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You, to be there when they went 0-10, and when they went 2-10 last year, and to see him enjoy this season, I don't know what that does for him going forward, but it's got to be special for him.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, he's a good kid. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I mean, he had to become a man quicker than he should have been.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's handling it quite well now. And I think honestly, I think Clark Lee has been a big part of that for him. I think he's learned a lot just under him as well, and I think that's helped him develop even more. And I see a career for him in football still after college. I see him playing pro football. I mean, whether it be,
Mm-hmm.
he may not be drafted, but there's other leagues he could play in. He very well
Mm-hmm.
could still make a roster. And I mean, heck, for all I know, he could be drafted. I mean, you just never know. He's got the talent.
And he fits what NFL teams are looking for, the big body safety.
Yes.
And being 6'4", he absolutely fits that mold.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the game today, our friend CJ Taylor making the strip on the fumble to get Vanderbilt the ball back so they could kneel it out.
Yep.
And for him he's been through it all.
He has.
The 0-10, the 2-10, the missing a bowl game by one loss, and that one loss being an ugly, ugly game against the hated Orange team.
Yes.
He could have been in a bowl his sophomore year, but he wasn't.
Absolutely.
Got to be special for him too.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, if anyone's watching tonight and did not see our interview with him on the Golden Boot podcast in the preseason, highly recommend you go on YouTube and find that and just listen to the way he talks. It was the eeriest interview that I've been part of. We've interviewed athletes multiple times, coaches, everything. The way he talked, though, it did not come off as cocky or anything. He was very humble, but he was very confident. And the
Mhm.
way he spoke about this team was just very interesting. The way he spoke about Diego Pavia before we really, I mean, we knew what Pavia had done away from Vanderbilt, but the way he spoke about him there, because
Mhm.
we were still talking like, is it going to be Diego Pavia? Is it going to be Nate Johnson? Like, who's going to be the starting quarterback? And he was like, Pavia is already a leader on this team. I was taken aback by that. But once I
Mhm.
heard the way he spoke, I believed everything he said. And then when we made our, prediction episode for Vanderbilt, we were both like, hey, they're going bowling this year.
Mhm.
Did I think they would be at 6 wins at this point? Probably not. But I had
I
faith in
didn't.
their team. I had faith in him.
I'll be honest, I didn't.
Now, if I went through and picked their game by games, I don't think I would have preseason wise, I would not have picked them to beat Alabama. There's no way I would have picked that.
Nope.
I wouldn't have picked them to beat Texas. I would have picked them to beat Missouri. I would have. I would have picked them to beat Georgia State, obviously. The Virginia Tech game, Chris, you can tell the world. I called that from the very beginning. I never wavered on that pick.
You didn't. I did.
Yeah,
As a Vanderbilt fan, I did.
yeah, I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, they had a very hot season last year, and unfortunately for them this year, they're just, I mean, injury bugs have destroyed them. But no, this Vanderbilt team is just something special. I really hope something happens where we can see AJ Swan appear when they play LSU. I think that would just be funny. But I just don't see him
don't make
I don't
my
even
eyes
see him
light up
sniffing
like
the
that.
field. I don't see him sniffing the field because I don't see a situation in which we would have our third string quarterback go in the game. Because I don't
What I want to see?
What's that?
I want to see a good, hard fought football game. Whether we, of course, I want to win that game. But even if we lose, I want to see Diego Pavia go skipping in front of AJ Swan. I took your job.
Dude, that would be amazing. And honestly, when I look at that game, I don't see a situation in which LSU's sitting a quarterback in the second half at all. I don't see it being a blowout for either team. I think
Mhm.
that Pavia is going to give LSU's defense nothing but fits because that's just his style. And we saw what Marcel Reed did to LSU last week. I can't imagine what Diego Pavia will do when Pavia is a 100 times better quarterback than Marcel Reed. No offense to Marcel, he's fantastic. But I see that game being down to the wire. I see that being a close game that makes everybody uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And if Vanderbilt wins, I would not be surprised. But I mean, realistically, of the last 3 games you guys have, I think there's only one game on that schedule circled that y'all want to win in. The other 2 would be nice, sure,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. But there's that one game though that's circled, starred, ready to go, and that's the team that's playing right now, them Volunteers. Let me tell you,
Definitely got that one circled.
if you guys in this season, even if you lose your next 2, if you guys end this season with a win over Tennessee, that's the cherry on top right there.
Yes.
And honestly, I mean, heck, if y'all go and y'all win 2 of the next 3 or all 3 and sweep it out, if this Vanderbilt team got to 10 wins after a bowl game, how amazing would that be?
I'd be. You might have to send a search party out for me because I might be in heaven.
Absolutely. Well,
I'm just
I would say the one thing I would say is I would hope to God that you would be in a press box covering the bowl game.
That would be so nice.
It would be. And I would say if there was anyone that deserved it, it would be you because, man, you've been through some hell as a Vanderbilt fan. You've been a Vanderbilt fan as long as I've been alive, and you've seen it all.
Yes.
You've had your hopes up many times with Vanderbilt.
Man, I've had so many gut punches that it ain't even funny.
At this point this year, though, you guys could lose the rest of your games, and this was like a season you'll never forget, though, because of what's happened.
Yeah.
But we know y'all ain't losing the rest of your games.
Because it's been different. I don't have another word to say it. It's just been different.
Absolutely. And honestly, I look forward to what Nate Johnson can do next year. I think he might actually do something special.
He's been good in spot locations during the season. Like where Pavia has been dinged up or something, he's had to go out of the game. Johnson has come in and showed the flashes of what he can be too.
Absolutely. Now, one big question though to ask you is, what happens with Clark Lee after this year? Like, our
He
team's going
ain't
to
going
be.
nowhere.
Do you think people are going to go after him though?
They can try. He's not going anywhere.
Or the better
You
question,
know
are
that.
people going to go after Jerry Kill?
I could see him going out with going after Jerry Kill, but
I know it's
beyond
risky
that,
as well, though. It's risky to go after Jerry Kill.
yeah, the high risk, high reward.
Yes. Because I know that he's
So
had his health battles that he's still fighting them. And I mean, that's a risky hire to have. But the impact he's made, for Vanderbilt this year has been awesome. And if they can maintain their staff for next year, and honestly though, does he try to get a defensive coordinator that's going to call plays, or is he going to keep doing it next year? Do you think?
I think if he can keep Jerry Kill and Tim Beck around, it stays the same.
Okay, I think he can. I really do. I
And it,
think there's no reason not to.
and I think that's wild. I think that's something that college football is going to trend towards. Where, yes, you'll have your head coach, but you're going to have your head coach is going to be particular about one portion of the team, and he's going
Hmm.
to bring in somebody else to take over the other part of the team, and it's going to be a collaborative effort.
Well, that's kind of how Nick Saban used to be. He was a big defensive mind.
Mm-hmm.
And his early years at LSU, I mean, yes, he had defensive coordinators, but he was heavily focused on that defense. The offense, he
Mm-hmm.
let the coaches have. I mean, he'd have input like a normal coach would, but he would let his coaches do their job. But defensively, he was very hands on with it, and I like seeing Clark Lee doing what he's doing this year because it's clearly working,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't change a thing about it. But I'm very excited for the future of Vanderbilt. I really am. I think kids are going to see what Vanderbilt has to offer, and I would like to see some dominoes fall where they start stealing some of these recruits that would normally go to like a Tennessee or a Louisville or Kentucky or someone like that, and keep them in state. There's a kid last night that set some big passing records in the state of
Yeah.
Tennessee. And I couldn't think of a better big name recruit to be the cornerstone of this future for Vanderbilt than him. And if Clark Lee keeps building this program the way he is, they will be a very serious contender in getting his services in a few seasons.
And if you know, you know. The reports are that his big brother almost transferred to Vandy this year.
So that was going to be where I went next. Is it possible that we see Ty Simpson enter the transfer portal after this season if he's not promised the starting job after Jalen Milroe departs the NFL?
Come home to Nashville, son. Come
I was
home
going
to
to say,
Nashville.
I mean,
He
I don't
almost
see
did it
why not.
last year.
I think it would be a good move for him. And my God, if you had, oh man, could you imagine like someone that plays the style that Ty Simpson plays coming up to Nashville, going from Pavia to Simpson?
He'd be a
Man,
good fit.
he really would be. That'd be a very balanced offense right there.
He'd be a good fit. There's another kid that goes to Nashville Christian School
Mm-hmm.
that has been committed to Georgia, and 2 weeks ago decommitted. And the week that he decommitted was on the sidelines at Vanderbilt,
Interesting.
rated as the number one quarterback in the class.
I mean, that's saying something right there.
Can we flip him? I don't know. I've seen some reports where South Carolina's favored to get him. I'm not sure that I believe that, because this kid could have played anywhere in the state, went to any private school he wanted to,
Yeah.
and he chose to go to a small school with not a lot of publicity in Nashville.
I would love it. Absolutely.
So I think he'd be a good fit. I know we got a kid up in Chicago that's coming in. I don't know if he's class 25 or 26.
I think he's 26, if I'm not
But
mistaken.
you want to talk about a
That's Pavia
baller.
2.0, man.
Ugh.
He plays just like Pavia.
Right.
Which it makes sense for him to be committed. So I'm very excited for that.
Right. So hadn't shared this graphic yet. This is something I'm proud of. We are officially bowl bound. Feels good to say it.
Man, I'm very happy for him. It's so nice to see. It really is. Just the work this team's put in this year. It's just a breath of fresh air. You want to see these teams in the SEC that have kind of been at the bottom of the barrel for the years. You want to see them have some good seasons, but this doesn't feel like a one and done thing for Vanderbilt. This feels like this is the beginning of something big. And
Right.
as long as the university continues to support the program and they can keep Clark Lee on, I think they're in good hands because clearly he's the best hire they've made in a long, long time.
Right. So you mentioned keeping Clark Lee on board. A lot of people don't know that he actually played football and baseball at Vanderbilt. He's from the Nashville area.
He did?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
He was a fullback in high school, but he was also a very good baseball player. He went to Belmont, played baseball there, transferred to Vandy, couldn't make the team, so he walked on the football team and was a fullback on all those Jay Cutler teams.
What?
Yes.
You would think that he
I
would
don't
be able
think
to
he's
draw
going
Jay
anywhere.
Cutler. You would think he could draw Jay Cutler back to the program.
At this point, do you want him? After some of the things he said within the past year about Vanderbilt, do you want to draw him back in?
Yes, 100% yes. And the reason I say that is because I believe in forgiveness. And I've seen many people have many fallouts at their universities. But an example I can use is in professional wrestling. The wrestler CM Punk had the ugliest exit you would ever see from professional wrestling that you could imagine. Didn't wrestle for many years and now is back in the WWE. If that can be repaired, anything can be repaired. So
Okay.
the only reason I say I would like to see Jay Cutler back with a legit affiliation to the university is because I think now in this NIL era, I think that he could really benefit them because he's a marketable guy. He really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's pretty intelligent. I mean, obviously he went to Vanderbilt. He's got to be intelligent, but I think that just his presence could help, just help him out.
Fair. And you mentioned former players getting on board. The major announcement at Vanderbilt yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but former player Casey Hayward, who for about a 5 or 6 year period was one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, made a $1 million donation to the Anchor Collective, the NIL at Vanderbilt. So getting former players to buy in, I think, is a good sign.
Yes.
So I know you're going to have to jump off here soon. And I wasn't planning on going a long time tonight anyway. I appreciate you jumping on with me.
For sure, man.
But while you're here, I wanted to give everybody kind of a vision of where I want to take this.
Sure.
I need fan interaction. I need people watching the show to jump in the chat with us. It's going to be live on YouTube. It's going to be live on Twitter. It's going to be live on Facebook. All those places. I'm going to need fan interaction, chats. I want to bring some players and coaches in and interview them. I plan on covering everything Vandy, whether it's the women's soccer tournament down in Pensacola, men and women's basketball. Got a big game coming up Monday night for both programs. preseason stuff, both playing in Nashville on the same night, the same gym. That's going to be fun. That rarely happens. Player interviews. I'm a member of the Football Writers Association of America. I'm also a member of the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. So I want to make this something good for Vanderbilt fans because there's nothing like this for Vanderbilt fans out there.
Exactly.
So,
and I look forward to the basketball talk because if anyone knows you, they know that you follow every Vanderbilt sport religiously.
yes.
And like golf, oh my gosh. Like I'm ready to hear about that too.
Let me tell you. Everybody thinks this is just about football right now, about beating Alabama and Auburn and owning the state. Guess what? Our women's soccer team kicked the crud out of Alabama last Sunday. They haven't beaten us in a single sport in this academic school year.
We got to keep it up through basketball season.
Oh, can you imagine beating that team?
Dude. At that point, I mean, hey, does Pavia have a good jump shot?
I was told he was a good wrestler.
Oh, that's what I've heard. Yeah, that he had a wrestling background. I mean, my goodness, that explains his mentality a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, honestly, wrestlers have one of the strongest mentalities you'll ever see.
Right. So, but anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this short tonight. I think I've touched everything I wanted to touch on just to get it out there and let people know, hey, there's a Vanderbilt fan that wants to do this for the fans, and I'm ready to go. I just need them to jump in with me.
Absolutely. I'm a proud ally of the Vanderbilt universe. I'm not afraid to
Okay.
say anchor down. I like that team.
All right. Well, I appreciate you jumping in, Cody, and helping me get this off. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and say good night. Anchor down. We're going bowling, baby. It feels great. And nobody has got it better than us in Nashville for the doors. Nobody's got it better than us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a good one.
All right. Anchor down. Catch you later, Cody.
Later, man.